Hello, Amber from Beyond the Mask here, where I talk about living beyond the mask and how it starts with heart. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about my contemplation around denial. This is a card. Can you see it very good? Probably not that great. But this is a card that is a light language card, and it got pulled as part of a session, an energy session that I was doing. It was called a cosmic body attunement that I was doing today. And so that card came up, and there was a lot of energy that moved during that session. Sometimes we need a little help from our friends, and a shout out to my girlfriend Marion at Heart to Spirit Healing. She does biofield tuning and light language and crystal and soul healing. And she combines them in her own works of magic and uses crystal grids also. So she was working with me on my session today, Cosmic Body Attunement, and pulled this denial card and was asking me where am I sensing this denial that is present here that would represent this card. And I immediately got there, it's a self-denial kind of a thing. And then after the session was over, I really just felt like I needed to get out into nature. And so I sat at 3 beaches today, not 1, but 3. So I went to a couple of beaches that just didn't quite give me the ability to just reflect. So at the last beach, I actually was sitting and watching the sunset. And as I was watching the sunset, I started journaling, took out my journal and started journaling. And this is what I wrote about denial. I asked, is it just my imagination, or is it multidimensional witnessing? I questioned my own crazy, right? And some of you, maybe you will kind of sense that you're not alone. After I read this, it says, I question my own crazy. That's what I seek. That's why I seek external validation, and probably why it's imposter syndrome and judgment. And nah, can't be true. Because another theme of this session was about believe in the experience. Believe in the experience. So I am working with energy, and I have some limitations as to how I can intuit that energy. So the ways that I intuit the energy is through clairsentience and clairaudience primarily, and just a claircognizance, just a knowing. Which doesn't really help me when people want to ask, how do you know that? Where did you hear that? Et cetera, because I don't have the objective quality evidence. And I've worked and I live in an area that really, it's very important. The logical mindset, the objective quality evidence, the proof for whatever you're saying, it has to be backed up. And so if you're a person that has a lot of intuitive gifts, you don't always have objective quality evidence. Some intuitives are more futuristic and can see things, patterns, and see kind of like where we need to go, and we just have this intuition that says this is what we need to do, and it's not necessarily backed by data. So another thing, as I was writing, is I was I was referring to things like too many stories, too many retells, too many ways that it shifts and transforms. So when you think about something happening, you can tell it one way and it will feel a certain way. And then you can tell it a different way and then it will feel a different way. And it's like you've shifted the energy in the story. And it's almost like you've rewritten the story. So how many versions are available, right? There could be infinite versions available of the same story or event. Maybe I should call it an event. If you get witnesses and they give you their account of what happened, and those accounts are different, right? So there's lots of different versions. So too many stories. And how was coming through was, man, it's like, if you can change things so rapidly and have these transformations happen so rapidly, then there is no foundation. There's nothing to stand on. And it's too fluid to hold on to. No wonder it can be so easy to question if that thing really happened. Did that really happen? Like, am I going crazy? Did I really just see what I just saw? Did I make it up? Or was it really like, did I really just see that? And it can be really easy to think that wasn't actually true because somebody else may not validate it. You might talk about it and the feedback is, they didn't see it that way, or whatever you're feeling, they're not feeling. And so they tell you that that's not true, that isn't, that isn't what they're seeing or saying, or, so there can be some denial just in the message that's coming through. And it's not able to be received because either they're not ready, they're not able to, they're not willing to, they're not capable to hear whatever, the voice is saying. I've had this experience a lot of times in my life. I am a projector with an undefined throat. So when I speak things and people aren't inviting me to speak them out, I can be met with a lot of pushback and resistance. And then when I get that, it feels like I'm crazy because whatever I just said, it, like nobody gets it. Or I'm just being mean or negative or whatever because I'm seeing a pattern or I'm seeing something and I'm like, no, we don't want to do it that way. We want to look at something else. And other people are like, yeah, this is the way to go, kind of a thing. And so that's been a place that feels like gaslighting. And then I can do that to myself. It's like, oh man, I had this vision. I had this sense of what was going on with the energetics. Ooh, I saw this. Oh my gosh, nobody's going to believe me when I say that. They're going to think I'm crazy. They're going to think I'm weird. All this stuff, right? Like, but the truth is, believe in your experience. Believe in your experience. That was the message. Believe in your experience. But then there's this denial and releasing this denial. So what happens when I have these interactions with people is it actually diminishes my confidence. It creates this self-doubt. And what I wrote in my journal was that it's a trap. It's a programming trap, and it's to push away your power so that I don't get labeled as crazy or I don't get kicked out of the tribe, right? So think about that. Create self-doubt. It's a trap, and the programming is then to push away the power, right? To discount it, to deny the power, to deny what did I actually just see? What did I actually just hear? What did I actually just experience from this energetic realm, this realm that I can't see? And I get kicked out of the tribe, right? I just want to fit in. So what do? You shut that down. Shut down those senses. That's what you do. You're like, "Ooh, okay, never mind. That wasn't real. That wasn't true." But what if you're actually talking to people who don't have any idea or concept of psychic abilities? What if you're talking to people who are so shut down in their heart center that they really truly don't know and can't connect with what you're talking about? And you're not actually crazy, but you're actually feeling into, sensing, witnessing, hearing whatever is actually happening in the energetics. Because you know what? Energetics speak louder than people's words and their actions. And if you are an intuitive and you can pick up on people's energetics and it doesn't match what they say or what they do, then it's for you to understand that there's a mismatch there in that person's energy, not in your own abilities to read the situation. But that's hard. Because not everybody experiences their psychic abilities. Oftentimes they get shut down, and they were shut down for safety. Whew, I know that I had to shut mine down, and I've been working really hard to bring them back online and to build that trust that my abilities are indeed dialed in and working so that I can trust them. So how do you believe in yourself once again becomes the question. Right? Everyone is different. Our gifts are all different. They come online at different times. They deepen if they're nurtured. They're powerful when they're allowed to exist, when they're accepted. Becomes really, really powerful. Like people will be like, how did you know that? Like where did that come from? And you're like, I can't explain it, but this is what's coming through, right? Every single human has this ability. They have this ability to awaken these gifts. And these gifts are things like telepathy, mediumship. You can have clairvoyance. You can have claircognizance, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairolfactance. You can have taste, can be a sense. People travel in their dreams. They have dream states. People remote view. People know things are going to happen. They have this like precognition of this is going to happen. It already exists. Humans have this ability. Every single human has this ability. It's just a matter of how shut down is it. And how shut down have you been in your life if you're more sensitive? Because it's really uncomfortable when you don't know who to talk to. When people around you don't validate that and they actually have this judgment that can be perceived. Judgment, a lack of acceptance, a rejection, a labeling, a teasing, all of those kind of experiences are out there. So if you're here watching this, you probably have psychic abilities. You probably have the experience of having to sit with them all by yourself. And there's probably not been a huge number of people that you've been able to confide in, to test with, to play around, to lean in. But know that it's safe now. There are people that have these abilities. You can find your mentor. You can find the people that will accept you, that will hold you safely, that will teach you about how to open up your psychic channels, about how to trust your abilities, how to start seeing and putting it together. because it's going to happen more and more. It's going to happen more and more. They're opening up. It came through in my grid that I laid out this week, psychic abilities and precognition. It's part of the collective. It's coming online. So let's stop shutting it down. Let's stop treating it as weird. Let's stop treating it as crazy. Let's start playing around with it to see how good you actually are, because that is going to blow your mind when you start really putting the pieces together. When you can consciously be aware of how your intuition works, it gives you something to stand on. It gives you a foundation. It gives you confidence. So, I love you. We're going to walk through this together. I'm here to support you. And welcome to stepping into the rest of your life. I find that living beyond the mask is so much more entertaining. It's so much more fun. It's so much more freer to be my authentic self and who I'm here to be. So welcome. Hit that like and subscribe. Hang out with me more often. We'll keep going. Until next time.